Talking to sellers is less about real estate and more about conversations and relationships. On this video, learn 20 powerful phrases to use when talking to sellers that will help you build trust and close more deals. Coming up.
Go to 8weekacademy.com to claim your free copy of Jerry Norton's most popular training. In it, he reveals his blueprint for making $100,000 per year with real estate.
If you're new here, my name is Jerry Norton. I've been a full-time real estate investor now for almost 18 years. Amongst other things, I specialize in flipping houses all across the country, and I've helped thousands of new investors get into the game of flipping and create six-figure and even seven-figure incomes. If you want to learn how to flip houses so you can live your dream life, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get notified when new videos are released. Recently, I released a video sharing my cold calling script for talking to motivated sellers. And on that video, I mentioned a very important part of the conversation that can't be scripted, but is vital to your success. I call it building a relationship of trust, or BRT for short. BRT allows you to connect with the seller on a meaningful level. This includes showing interest, finding commonalities, mirroring the seller's tone and demeanor, and especially listening and genuinely caring. Remember, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. Want to do more deals and convert more leads? Then learn how to master the art of BRT. On this video, I'm going to share with you 20 phrases with examples and explanations that you can use to BRT with sellers. And be sure to stick around. At the end of this video, I'll show you how to get that for free. But before we get started, I want to warn you, if these 20 phrases are used inappropriately to manipulate the seller, they'll backfire on you. People are masters at mapping each other, even if subconsciously. A seller will sense if you are not sincere, and instead of building trust, it will do the opposite. These phrases also must be used logically. If used out of context, they won't work either. For example, some phrases are the opposite of other phrases, so it matters when and how you use them, so you'll need to study them and look for clues as to when to use them naturally throughout the conversation. And above all else, learn to listen. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. All right, let's review 20 phrases you can use to BRT when talking to sellers. Phrase number 1 is, I wouldn't want to tell you. For example, I wouldn't want to tell you to sell your house. Or, I wouldn't want to tell you to kick out your 35-year-old son living in your house rent-free. The phrase, I wouldn't want to tell you, is a non-threatening way of telling the seller what you think he should do in a way where he feels like it's his choice. It builds trust when people feel like you're not telling them what to do and respecting their choice. Phrase number 2 is, you might want to now. For example, you might want to winterize your plumbing now before the pipes freeze. Or you might want to notify your tenant now that you're selling your house so they have time to move out. This phrase is used when you want to convey a sense of urgency to the seller without pressuring him, which is why you say you might. Phrase number 3 is, I don't know if this is. For example, I don't know if this is the best thing for you to do or not, but I would sell your vacant house and get the cash out of it. This is a subtle way of telling the seller what to do without telling the seller what to do. Again, like the first 2 phrases, honoring the seller's ability to choose creates trust. Okay, phrase number 4 is, you are awesome or cool. Now, this one is self-explanatory. People like to be recognized for their hard work or their good decisions, but use this phrase sparingly. Flattery works until it doesn't, so use it only when needed. Phrase number 5 is, you are right. For example, you are right, you shouldn't have to go through this. Or, you're right, it's not fair. Or, you're right, your brother shouldn't have done that. I'm really glad we're here to help you. Give the seller's problems validation and then be the solution, even if it's their fault. It builds trust when they feel like you're on their side. Phrase number 6 is, you deserve. For example, you deserve to retire and move to Florida, or you deserve to be free of this problem so you can enjoy life. This phrase works well when a seller is upset or bothered by his current situation. Telling him he deserves something better allows him to be more open about how you can help him. Phrase number 7 is one of my favorites. What is it that helps you know whether or if X or Y? For example, what is it that helps you know whether you should sell your house now or wait until the summer? Or what is it that helps you know whether you should choose my offer over the other offer you received? The reason I love this phrase is because now the seller is going to tell you exactly what you need to do to win him over. No more guessing. Phrase number 8 is, if you could choose. For example, if you could choose between receiving all of the money now for a lower price or waiting to get all of the money till later for a higher price, which would you choose? This question lets you know if they are open to do creative financing. Another example is, if you could choose between closing in 15 days or 30 days, what is better for you? This phrase gives a seller 2 choices so he feels empowered, yet both choices you can live with. Now, I use this phrase all the time with my kids. Do you want to go to bed in 10 minutes or 15 minutes? I'll let you decide. Phrase number 9 is, why is it some people see or think it and most people don't? This phrase is used to agree with a seller when he is complaining about something that he thinks only applies to him, like getting ridiculous low offers from other buyers. You would say, why is it some see value in your home and most don't when they make those low offers? Or let's say that the seller is complaining about how hard it is to be a landlord and manage tenants. You would say, why is it some tenants pay rent on time, but most don't? Now, recently I was talking to an agent who was complaining about how hard it is to show houses to buyers. I asked him, why is it that some buyers are respectful of your time, but most want you to show them houses every day? Now, people love to be validated about the things that bother them. Okay, phrase number 10 is, I'll do the work for you. For example, I'll do the work for you to empty out the house, or I'll do the work for you to handle evicting the tenant, or I'll do the work for you and handle all of the paperwork and coordinate the closing. Use this phrase if ever the seller is overwhelmed or anxious about something that you know how to easily solve. It builds trust when the seller feels like you're willing to solve his issues for him. Phrase number 11 is, how did you succeed when everyone else failed miserably at this? For example, how did you succeed at being such a good father when your own father failed at it? Or how did you succeed at being married for 30 years when most people get divorced? Or how did you succeed at paying off your mortgage when most people are strapped in debt? Use this phrase when a seller shares a story about their past, especially with elderly people. They love telling stories of things they did and obstacles they overcame that others didn't. This shows interest in them as a person and not just in their property. Phrase number 12 is, you have no idea how nice it is to work with people who actually get it, smart, can think, etc. For example, you have no idea how nice it is to work with someone who understands the process to sell a house. Or you have no idea how nice it is to work with someone who can see how valuable a cash offer is. Use this phrase with sellers who understand the process. It's a form of flattery that makes the seller feel smart and capable and evokes a desire to want to help you in return. Phrase number 13 is, imagine what would happen if. For example, imagine what would happen if I got all of this taken care of for you quickly. Or imagine what would happen if you got $45,000 in your pocket at closing. This phrase puts them in a happy state by imagining their problem being solved by you. Phrase number 14 is, would you be surprised? For example, would you be surprised that this process is pretty simple? Or would you be surprised if we could close in 10 days? Many sellers think their problem is a big deal or it's too difficult to solve. This phrase builds up the value of what you have to offer, and it lessens the tension and puts the seller's mind at ease, which builds trust. Phrase number 15 is, you probably already know. For example, you probably already know that your house needs to be updated, or you probably already know that right now is a good time to sell your house. This phrase helps create agreement between you and the seller, even if he doesn't know. Assuming he already agrees helps you build trust. Phrase number 16 is a combination of flattery and getting him to agree with you, which is, you're a really smart person and you probably already know. For example, you're a really smart person and you probably already know that the value on Zillow doesn't take into account the repairs that are needed. The flattery and assuming he already agrees with you helps the seller feel intelligent and builds further trust. Phrase number 17 is another way of combining flattery with agreement, which is, you're obviously a man or woman who, for example, you're obviously a man or woman who already knows that your house needs to be updated to sell for the value listed on Zillow. Phrase number 18 is one thing I've noticed about you, and then pick a quality about that seller that sticks out. For example, one thing I've noticed about you is you want to make the right decision for your family. Or one thing I've noticed about you is you're a decisive person. It can even be something simple like noticing something of interest to them. For example, from the sounds of it, you must like dogs. Noticing and bringing attention to something of interest to the seller or pointing out a redeeming quality helps build trust. Another variation is phrase number 19, and that is the thing I admire about you. For example, the thing I admire about you is how much pride you take in your home. Or the thing I admire about you is that you want to live close by so you can still see your kids. Now, this one is easy to use. Just name something that makes them feel special and it will help build trust. And finally, last but not least, is phrase number 20. This is an important phrase to use at least once in every conversation, and that is, I can tell it's important to you that. For example, I can tell it's important to you that we close quickly so you don't get a foreclosure on your record. Or, I can tell it's important to you that a lot of people don't come in your house. It builds trust when people feel like you understand and value their concerns. Okay, like I said in the beginning, using these phrases effectively needs to come from a place of sincerity, not manipulation, and context is everything. It matters when and how you use these phrases, but if you study them and you practice, I promise you will be able to build meaningful relationships with sellers. And like I said, when it comes down to it, this is not a business of real estate, it's a business of conversations and relationships. Once you fully grasp that, you'll be unstoppable. And to help you, I've created a PDF cheat sheet with all 20 phrases, including examples and explanations, and I'll give it to you for free. I'll put the download link in the description below for you. All I ask in return is you leave a comment and you use one of the flattery phrases with me. Maybe, Jerry, you probably already know this, but you are a flipping genius. Or maybe, Jerry, I can tell it's important to you that I tell you that you're a flipping genius. You decide. And finally, I want you to watch a video where I did a really bad job at building trust with a seller. It's a live call breakdown and the seller was rude and I lost my patience. It's a pretty funny video and there's a lot to learn about what to do as well as what not to do. So watch that video now. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to my channel. With almost 800 videos, this is the #1 channel on YouTube, and I'll see you on the next video.